Test 1, 2, test 1, 2.
Check, 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 check.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve.
Nick Reynolds, Steve Harness, and Cousin Brewski. The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve.
Take one.
That's us, dude.
Welcome to the show.
We welcome you to the show. It's The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve, all a brewski. What up, you bastards? Thank you for tuning in to our podcast and making us a part of your life. It's very special to us. I mean, I feel good about it. Thank you.
Sure. Are you calling Nick Brewski and I bastards, or the audience? All of us?
Well, when it comes from me, it's a term of endearment. So yeah, all of you combined, you're all bastards.
I called my son a bastard a few months ago, and he was like, "You understand that makes no sense, right, Dad?" Told me.
That guy's sharp, dude. I played his episode, or us talking about Crosby for Rachel on the podcast, and she was like, "That Crosby, dude, that is so amazing that he went into that principal, hidden recorder in hand, and held his feet to the fire."
Yeah,
I want more out of him.
I played that segment for him on the way to school that next morning, and he loved it. First of all, he never heard a full segment of ours. He loved hearing us talking about him, but he's definitely loved that you guys had his back on his big football debate.
So funny, dude.
Yeah. And Brewski, every clip he hears or whatever, he's more and more of a fan of yours. And he was like, "Wow, this Brewski really does know what he's talking about." Yeah. Like, yeah, certain topics he does. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, exactly. We all got to have our strength somewhere.
Right.
He's an encyclopedia of knowledge. Sometimes we need it, sometimes we don't.
Yep, and that goes for all of us. When we think we know, we let it shine, so we look like we must know everything about everything.
Yeah, sure.
We know a lot about some things, and next to nothing about many other things. So
that about sums up the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve Olabrewski. See our webpage, thevocalminority.net. We have a bunch of socials there. Around these holiday times, you're off work. Well, this is a perfect time for you to snuggle up with your favorite podcasts. Include us in that list, please.
That is true. Yep. Thevocalminority.net and the social medias, spread them around. And yeah, it is holiday season. I know a lot of the bigger podcasts are taking this time off, so perhaps we have some new listeners looking for new content. So
Welcome to the show.
But yeah, the holidays are approaching, and we get together with friends and family, and some of which we want to get together with. Often other times, maybe we begrudgingly get together with some people or end up at company parties, the nightmares that those things always are. A lot of social interactions going on right now.
Which we're going to talk about, but I have one question first, okay?
Sure, yeah.
You can both answer this. How old were you when you started to realize that the holidays weren't great for everybody? Maybe yourself included. You know what I mean? When I was younger, I used to think like, oh, Christmas, the most magical time of the year. And as I got to be an adult, I realized through relationships and my own life that Christmas isn't always a great time of year for everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I actually learned it at a very young age.
You did?
Oh, yeah. I remember the episode of Happy Days when the Fonz was alone on Christmas and he was opening a can of spaghetti and he was going to heat that up. And the Cunninghams saw that and said, no. You come and join us for dinner at the Fonzarelli. And that's when it kind of sunk in,
Yeah.
Listen, I laugh because this has become a topic of my therapy in these last several years. I always understood that people had seasonal depression. That some people around the holidays, they would get blue and whatnot. But I understood it was a thing, but I didn't understand it at any sort of personal level because I have always had joyous holiday seasons. When I was a kid, teenager, in my 20s, into my 30s. I mean, Christmas has always been a magical time until I got divorced. And my family was fractured, and we got divorced in October of 2019. And then 2 months later, I mean, you're into Christmas.
Right.
And I went back to my former house that I had lived in, that I had paid for. I had to knock on the door. I had to be invited in. Someone was sitting in my chair at the table. I hung out for an hour while my kids opened presents. I went home and I cried on Christmas Day,
Caught up with you.
Yes. And now it's been a recurring theme these last few years because so that was Christmas 2019. By Christmas 2020, I was in a relationship, and then I felt like things were kind of back on track. I had a little family unit and all that. Same for 21. So I had like 2 years where I kind of felt like holidays were back on track for me. But then last year, the epic, terrible breakup thing happened with my fiance, and I was alone at the holidays last year. And then, Dottie and I broke up 2 months ago or whatever it was at this point, a month ago. So now here we are rolling back into the holidays again. I didn't have a Thanksgiving this year. First of all, I had COVID, but I wasn't going to have a Thanksgiving anyway. I came to find out. I was invited to a Thanksgiving that wasn't even a real thing. My ex-wife, she was like, hey, Thanksgiving, we're going to do some make your own pizza and stuff. Come on over. Turns out they were doing the real Thanksgiving the next day, and I wasn't invited to that one. So spent Thanksgiving alone with COVID, and now I'm rolling into the holidays for Christmas. And my kids will come over and we'll have a nice time. But I don't like being single at the holidays now that I'm this stage of life, being a dad and all that stuff. So sure. I've learned firsthand that the holidays can definitely suck for people.
And your situation is not unique. There's a lot of people obviously going through that. And then, I guess when I started to get older and think about, parents that are missing, stuff like that, the holidays can be a big bummer. Thinking about people that are not here anymore, stuff like that. And just, it's a reflective time that you think about stuff, and we're supposed to be grateful. That's supposedly the magic of Christmas, is that we find generosity to others and we're grateful for what we have, all that kind of stuff. But a lot of Christmas is a big old bitch.
Yeah. And, if you have a history of, doing well at Christmas time with a company bonus or whatever, and then the old Clark Griswold thing, 1 year you don't have a bonus or you're unemployed this year, and now you can't buy gifts, and it's a bit of a catch-22. So
what do you think happens with the suicide rate around the holidays?
I would assume it spikes quite dramatically.
So there always is that suicide hotline, and people that want to hear from you if you're not doing so well in the holiday times. Those of you that will be getting together with people, there's a lot of uncomfortable conversations, whether they're about politics or just life stuff in general. You know what I mean?
Yes. And I will tell you, I was talking to my dad today about some of this seasonal depression kind of stuff going on. And he said something to me that annoyed the crap out of me. It's something people have said before. And this sets up the thing we're going to talk about today. Nick and I have a list of some common expressions that, you may have a good intention saying it, but people might actually find it to be very annoying or offensive that you've said it. Right. And, I've been having some health issues. I've been having love life issues. I've been having work issues. I've been going through a lot of stuff of late. And my dad told me today, hey, it could always be worse. It could always be worse.
Which is, like you said, that's meant to be, put things in perspective and to kind of rah, you're going to be all right.
I understand the sentiment behind it. That, hey, look at the positive is basically what that, I guess, is trying to say.
Sure.
But it is so dismissive of you and your feelings. Because, my dog died today. Okay, well, the guy down the street, his grandfather died today. So he's got it worse than you. But the guy on the other side of town, his son died today. Someone else, they had 2 kids die today in a car accident. Of course it could always be worse. Of course. So does that mean unless I had 10 kids die today, I'm not allowed to be sad or share that I'm upset, or it could always be worse? You got 2 legs still. Yeah, great. Okay, sure.
You know what? Like I said, that's a wrap up sort of comment that you should make at the end of a long discussion, just to try and say it's going to be okay. But yeah, you should not compare your pain or someone else's pain to you. If you're feeling pain, you should go through it.
And my dad is a veteran of therapy, and it is a therapeutic principle that all pain is relative.
Yeah.
If my cat dies and your grandma dies, is it worse than your grandma dies? Of course, but we're both still in pain. There's no metric for it. You can't say yours is a 9 and mine's an 8, so I should shut up.
Right.
Well, at least your dad didn't use one phrase that is the ultimate dismissive phrase.
Yeah.
Which is?
It is what it is. If that doesn't scream, I don't give a F what you just said.
Right.
Nothing else will.
Yeah.
I laugh because the first thing on my list on these are, things people say that annoy the hell out of other people. It is what it is the first thing on my
God,
list.
I hate that.
So funny, dude. Because you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I've said it before, and I only have said it when I don't know what else to say.
Yes. I was going to say,
I'm dismissing it. It is what it is. What do you want me to do?
Yes. I use that expression a lot too. And I've had other people tell me that they don't like it, but I don't mean to be dismissive. It's just like you said, I don't know what else to do. It is what it is. You have to accept the things you can't control in this world. So I got diagnosed with cancer. It is what it is. Like I can't fight that. I'm going to go do something about it, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and I think it's okay if we say that to ourselves, like it is what it is. But if Brewski came and he was like, I just got diagnosed with cancer, we're like, hey, it is what it is.
You know? Right. That's fair. I think that's a good distinction. You can say that about yourself. Don't ever say that to someone else. You know?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
My dog died. Oh, it is what it is. What are you going to do? You know?
So funny, dude. The first one on my list is it's just who I am. I hate it when people excuse bad behavior by saying stuff like that. It's just who I am. You know, you were a real dick last night. It's just who I am. I'm just, it's just who I am.
It's an excuse to cover rude behavior. It's kind of like saying, hey, I don't want to be offensive, but, well, you're about to be offensive.
Right, yes.
You wouldn't say it otherwise.
If you've identified a character flaw in someone and they're like, it's just who I am. Well, that's not good, dude. I mean, that's
a lot of people. And I've noticed this, on dating apps and that sort of thing. A lot of women will say, I have no filter. I'm brutally honest.
Right.
Well, but they say that as if it's something to be proud of. And I'm thinking to myself, so you're basically wanting for people to say it's okay that you're an a-hole.
Yeah, you're rude and you don't have compassion for people. You're just saying it like it is. I just say it like it is.
Yes.
Yeah, and you should say, okay, you know what? I'll always be honest with you. I'll always give you the honest truth. But when you start saying I have no filter or I'm brutally honest, well, that just tells me that you don't care about others and you just want to say whatever you want to say and justify doing it.
Agreed.
You can tell someone a harsh truth and do it gently or politely. You don't have to just be like, hey, man, I'm a little worried that you seem like maybe you're gaining a little weight and I'm just worried about. You don't have to say, hey, you're a fat bastard. What's your problem? Like,
Right. All that Steve, he has no filter.
Right. It's another one I saw in a lot of the dating stuff that always is similar thing. Someone that would say, if you can't accept me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. That is just another way of saying, like, when I'm a big raging a-hole, you better put up with me or you don't get me when I'm being nice to you.
Yes.
Like, well, why do you have to be at your worst with me? And why is your worst so worst?
They always say that's something that Marilyn Monroe said. That's where it's attributed to.
Okay.
But whenever I see a woman say that, 9 times out of 10, when I have experience with those women, they're crazy. Like just stupid, nuts, crazy.
It's the warning sign, dude, that I'm going to be a royal bitch. And I'll be nice once in a while, but you don't get that if you can't put up with that.
Yeah, exactly.
I would say if you don't have my back when I'm at my worst, then you don't deserve me when I'm at my best. But to just say you should tolerate me when I'm at my worst, no matter what I say or do to you, that's obviously just trying to dismiss your your unfiltered a-holeness. Next one on my list here is very similar. Hey, I'm not racist, but it's just like what I was just saying. Like, I don't want to be offensive, but I'm not racist, but I don't like black people. Like,
right.
You're about to be racist if you have to say.
Anytime there's a but, I mean, come on, dude.
Right.
The next one on my list kind of holds hands with that last one of harnesses. It's, I don't judge people. Hey, let's be frank. We all judge people as part of being people, dude. We all judge each other. Come on.
Absolutely. I wouldn't give that up for anything in the world.
And by the way, saying I don't judge other people, you are now judging other people because you're saying, hey, you judge people, but I don't judge other people. So I'm passing judgment on you.
You're an awful person for doing that.
Right.
100%, dude. And come on, maybe you could say like, oh, I don't judge people for certain behaviors, but we all judge people. Let's be very clear about that. We do it each and every day, and it comes into our decision-making skills of who to hire at work and who to fire at work and, how to treat your family, whatever. We judge people nonstop all the time. It's part of living life.
I hear it all the time with the women in my car. Especially the 20-somethings. Oh, my God. There's like 3 of them in the backseat, 3 women. And they're just like going on and on about this woman and that woman that they know. And she's just a bad friend and all that other stuff. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's trying to put a rosy spin on things. Otherwise, none of us would denounce Hitler. Like, we've all judged Hitler and have agreed he's bad. That's judging him. So, that is a normal thing. Like
where would Wapner be, dude, without judging, Come on.
Right. Yeah. That must be the worst profession in the world. How dare you judge me? Everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. Sorry your grandma died, but everything happens for a reason. Does it?
Okay. I want to know if you believe that. Do you believe that?
I don't think everything happens for a reason. It leads to cause and events and whatnot. I mean, there's a trickle that happens after every event, but does it happen for a reason? That implies some sort of divine intervention or fate is predetermined, which, there's some nuance in there. Some things I don't believe in fate. I don't believe our fate is predetermined, but I do believe the universe gives us signs, points you in a direction occasionally. And if you're paying attention, you see those signs. So maybe you're going to go down a path that, you're choosing to go down to, but is your fate predetermined? Does something bad? That's a way to justify bad things happening. A school bus full of kids blows up. Well, one of them is going to be the next Hitler. So, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Now,
it's just a way to make you feel better.
Coupled with that, here's another one for you. It's all part of God's plan.
F you, God.
but I mean, it's the same thing as like everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
It's the same sort of thing,
I understand the good sentiment. It's like what my dad said. There's a good sentiment behind it. Everything happens for a reason. It's trying to give you some faith, some hope to hold on for that this will turn out. Someday I'll look back. It is like the movie Signs, by the way, M. Night Shyamalan. Like Mel Gibson's character goes through a huge tragedy. His wife dies, but it happened for a reason, because if she hadn't died, he wouldn't have been able to save his family eventually. It's a nice story. Is that how life works for all of us, for all the bad things in this world? I don't think so, no.
I would like to think we would just change it to everything happens.
Right.
Because, everything happens. This happens, that happens. I don't know if there's a reason.
It is what it is.
What about everything falls apart? I mean,
Yeah, good things fall apart. That's the only factual thing I've ever been told in life.
Yes. Yeah. There's warranties on things for a reason. So.
Another one that your dad has shared with you as of recent that you shared with me is "This too shall pass." Do you like it or hate it?
I don't like it.
Why?
Well, of course, everything will pass. Time ticks forward. I understand the concept. Of course, we'll get to a new, something new will happen. But, I've gone through 4 years of some pretty crappy things, and I'm waiting for the pendulum to swing the other way. So I'm losing a little bit of faith in, everything will, this too shall pass. Yeah, I'll die. Something's going to happen. But there's an implication that, again, it's happening for a reason, or that you'll be happier once X, Y, or Z happens. And it's not always the way life works for everyone. Sometimes life sucks for years and years and years, and maybe forever.
These are what I call the red bows of conversation. These are things that people do to wrap up conversation.
Right.
Now, this too shall pass. I mean, it's so dismissive to just say, I know you're going through it now, but it's going to pass. Keep your head up. Stuff like that.
Yes.
And I say that. I've said all these things to people before.
Oh, we all have.
Sure. And again, the sentiment is good, but my dad recently said that to me, "This too shall pass." And I said, okay, let me tell Tom Hanks when he's stuck on that island, going insane, talking to a volleyball that, hey, one of these days you're going to get rescued. Statistically, someone's going to find you one of these days. In the meantime, you're alone on an island talking to a volleyball. So enjoy your insanity. But someday.
Perk up someday, dude.
Maybe tomorrow, maybe 10 years. Who knows? That almost is more torture. Someday it's going to pass.
Yeah. This is a newer statement that we've just been hearing over the last, 4 or 5 years. I'm anti-woke.
I don't even understand what that means. I'm anti-woke. I'm anti-being progressive, caring about other people. That's the old, I don't mean to be a dick, but,
right.
That's what saying I'm anti-woke is.
Yeah, that goes along with what you were talking about earlier. You're anti-woke. I am who I am. Right. I'll always give you the honest truth. These people are bastards, dude.
We've seen so many Republicans be asked to define what woke is, and they don't even understand what it is. It's become a catchphrase. I'm anti-woke, because you think that is a positive thing to say.
Yeah. Do you just walk away from the conversation? Because I do. I mean, I'm not going to argue with an idiot.
Oh, so most likely, yes.
I would just be like, oh, have a good night, dude.
Or just discuss the weather or something. That conversation's not going anywhere positive, so.
Yeah.
And, like Howard Stern recently said, if you're anti-woke, I guess that means you're asleep. And I don't want to be asleep. So why would I want to be pro-woke or, or whatever it is?
Yeah, we don't have anything in common, dude. Come on.
Yes. I think I've said this one before. I don't know. Can't you take a joke? Just joking.
Yes, you said that, dude. Of course.
I mean, Matthew Perry, when everyone got upset about me making fun of him, and well, Nick was worse, actually. But when we were like, we're joking.
Don't judge me, dude.
Like, take it down a notch, please. I think there are some scenarios where you do have to be able to say that. It's like, come on, I'm just joking. I have this conversation with my kids. They get a little politically correct on me every now and again. And I've had to tell them, like, guys, it's us. It's our family circle. I'm not doing this at the PTA meeting. Like, it's okay to joke about some things, okay? Don't be so.
I'm not being racist in public. This is just the dinner table, kids.
Right, yes.
Well, but the thing about that, though, is that too many people use that phrase, again, to rationalize bad behavior.
Yes.
Like whenever Trump or any of these other people say something really awful, and then they get blowback on it, they're like, "Oh, I was just joking. You took that seriously? I was just joking." It's just their way of not taking responsibility and taking ownership of what they said.
Yeah,
very fair. I think it does depend on the setting, and it's one thing for a comedian on stage to say something offensive versus a politician in front of a crowd. Like the comedian, as we've said on the show 100 times, like comedians have a little wider berth as far as what they can joke about because they're jokers, as are we. So I feel like we have a little more, slack that should be cut for us. But yeah, if you're a elected official, if you're the head of the PTA, then, you probably shouldn't be joking about some things.
Yeah, there's a time and a place, right? I've said it to my wife a million times when I've said something that I thought was real funny and maybe hurt her feelings a little bit. Or, it's just skewed.
You took that seriously?
I'm sorry. I was just joking, dude. Relax. I'm sorry.
Yep.
How about this one, dude? Trust me, I'm a good person.
Says the guy getting you into the van.
Right, dude. I mean, is that an immediate red flag? Trust me, dude. I'm a good person. Relax.
Well, getting back to the dating world, I can't tell you how many women I have told, like, listen, I'm one of the good ones, but one of the bad ones would tell you that. So you're just going to have to give it the time to see for yourself. Like, I'm going to tell you right now, I am one of the good ones, but time will have to prove that.
Yeah. Let's get coffee.
Right.
You be the judge.
Your coffee. But, again, like Brewski was saying, evil people can use that as an excuse for bad behavior. But
yeah,
it's tough. If you're a good person, should you have to tell someone that? Should you have to announce it?
Dude, if I met somebody at a Christmas party and they said these statements that we're talking about right now, I would run. And I, like I said, I've said them before. So how many people have run from me?
Right. Yeah. No, for sure.
In that same vein, Steve, I always find it funny when there are guys who are overly feminist. You know what I mean? So they go out of their way to say to women, "Oh, I support feminism, absolutely."
Because you don't know if it's sincere or not is the problem.
Yeah, exactly. They're just trying to get in your pants, and they think that when they have to go through all that trouble to tell you just how much of a feminist they are, can you really trust them?
Yeah, that should be something that shines through in your actions, right? You don't have to say that.
But it does create a problem, though, for the good guy or for the feminist. Like, I can't apparently announce that because that's what the sociopath would tell you. So now I sound like the crazy guy, but I'm just trying to tell you I'm progressive, I'm pro-woman, but now you sound crazy. It's such a catch-22. So
you just got to show people with your actions, and then they'll know.
That's an important principle I've learned in therapy of late. You got to judge people not on their words, but on their actions. And that's a really interesting concept because I spent 2 years with a woman who always said the right thing but did the wrong thing. And when she would do the wrong thing, I would always think, but she said she was going to do the right thing. So shouldn't I take faith in what she said? And my therapist has explained, no. The words matter, but the actions matter more.
So how do you be able to tell if you spin that into the opposite vein of like when they're saying bad stuff and they're treating you great?
Well, I think it's kind of like when you're in your group of friends, you may make a sexist joke or something that you wouldn't make amongst others, but your actions in society are pro-woman or whatever it is.
You know who I am. Come on.
Right. You have to get to know someone well enough that shouldn't have to be announced. Like, obviously, I'm joking if I make some dumb joke about a woman or we're all, you know me.
Yeah.
But you can't show up to a mixer and start making these, hey, I'm a good guy. Trust me, I'm allowed to make these sexist jokes.
Oh, that's funny. That'd be a funny thing to do, dude, is just roll into a mixer and just start being misogynistic and be like, dude, I'm joking. I love women.
Well, George Carlin had a great bit that said he wanted to walk into Now headquarters and say, which one of you cupcakes want to take me home cook me dinner and give me a blowjob.
What was the punchline? What was his point?
No joke. It was just
Okay.
that's his pickup line.
Yeah, that's good. All right. Next one on my list. These are annoying things people say. I say this one a lot. I'm going to read their explanation as to why they think this is bad, but
Please.
I have OCD.
Oh.
Now, this phrase seems to have become a new trend. Using OCD to describe your cleanliness trivializes the true meaning of a mental health condition. Now, I do get that. And I will tell you, my most recent ex, she had told me something of, she mentioned something like I'm a little ADD or something like that. I don't remember what it was. It wasn't that one, but it was something like that. And I said, are you saying that conversationally, or did somebody diagnose you that way?
Right.
And there is a distinction. Like if you've truly been diagnosed with OCD or ADD or ADHD or any of that stuff, then okay. But, I'm very anal. I'm very cleansely with things. I like things in my place. And I often will say, I'm a little OCD. Can you not put that it lives there? It doesn't live over there.
Right.
No one's ever diagnosed me with OCD. I'm not trying to be dismissive of it, but I do feel like I have some OCD tendencies, and you guys.
And
have
that's what you're supposed to say. I think is the correct thing to say is to say, I have some OCD tendencies. Yeah. But,
Howie Mandel, there's been a spot recently on television. It's a medication for people with OCD, and he addresses the whole thing where, have you ever been around somebody who just says, I'm OCD, and it's kind of flippant, and they don't mean that they actually have a serious mental condition. It's just more, like Steve said, conversationally.
there's a lot of comments like that. If I'm not OCD and you say I'm OCD, like I'm not going to take any offense to it because I don't have that diagnosis, and it doesn't, the distinction between you and a diagnosed person doesn't bother me. Mm-hmm. But, there's some other phrases like that can be odd. I think people in general can use, I have PTSD very liberally.
Yeah.
We've heard a lot over the last 5 years, that triggers me. And that used to mean something like, oh yeah, I can understand why that would do that. But it's been blown out of proportion with people like, it's triggering me so much for stupid stuff.
Right.
When you're really triggered by something, we could understand that. But when you just use it blasé, it loses its meaning.
It does. It's been co-opted, I think, by society in general. But
I
would honestly think, I don't know, I have so many things on my therapy to-do list that I don't have time for this. But I think if I asked my therapist to give me some sort of OCD assessment, I would end up somewhere on that spectrum of it.
Probably. I'll agree with that as your best friend, dude.
I will tell you, I never used to think anything like that of myself until I read, I don't remember if it was Private Parts or Miss America, but Howard Stern has some pretty severe OCD tendencies. I don't know. I think he was diagnosed from his, shrink or whatever.
Yeah.
He started describing stuff that I did in my youth, and I had never realized that that was weird or bad or different, that not everyone did that. It wasn't until I read someone else's diagnosed OCD tendencies where I was like, oh boy, I do those things too. That's really weird. I had a whole thing about odd and even numbers for a long time. I still do to some extent, but I like even numbers. Odd numbers really bothered me. And I had this thing in middle school, probably around 8th grade, that it got really bad. And I just one day had to snap myself out of it. I was cognizant enough to realize, like, this is not good. What I would do was, if I was reading a book, I would count the number of letters in words.
And have to have it end up on a 5?
On even.
Oh,
it has to end in an even number.
Okay.
So if the word is four, F-O-U-R is 4 letters, perfect. I feel okay. I can go on to the next word. But if it was F-O-R, that's 3 letters. That bothers me. So now I have to add it to the next word. If the next word was 3 letters, now it's 6. Now that's even. Now it's okay. But if it kept adding up to, I realized at some point, like, I'm not reading. I'm just sitting here counting letters until they add up to even increments. It was disturbing.
Yeah.
And I had to just be like, this is not healthy. Like, I was aware enough to snap myself out of it, but it took real effort to stop counting the numbers of letters and words and adding them up. I was doing it on billboards. I mean, it would drive me nuts if there was an expression and it ended in an odd number of letters. Like,
you didn't
Howard
like
Stern
it.
had the same thing. And it wasn't until I read him saying it that I realized, like, oh boy.
I did the same thing as a young adult and a kid, but mine was different. I would read words, and if they didn't end, I would start on my thumb, and if the words didn't end on my pinky, I would read it again and start on the next finger. and I'd keep reading it until it ended on my pinky.
Interesting. See,
Yeah.
that's definitely an OCD tendency, at least. So.
And I had to really think hard, like, just get out of your head. You got to stop doing that. You got to stop doing that, dude.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. I did TV volume, by the way. I don't leave it on an odd number unless it ends in 5. I'm okay with 5. That's the only odd number I'm okay with. But I've had girlfriends do that. They'll put it to 13 and I'll grab the remote and just go 14. Like, no, don't leave it on 13 or 17. Just go up one, please. Just make it
so
easy.
Harness. You do. You have some stuff like that. You got any stuff like that, Brewski?
Not really.
Yeah, Brewski's normal.
No. Believe me. I mean,
Who would have thought Brewski was the normal one on the show?
I have things like where I like things a certain way. Once I get set in a routine wherever I work,
Yeah.
if you deviate from that, then I'll correct the behavior.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
that's a little bit then. Yeah. That's
What about I don't like drama? Do you like it when people say that? Does it bother you?
Yeah, who does like drama? Unless you're watching a play.
There's certain. Come on. Let's think about this. We like a little drama, don't we? We don't like drama that affects us per se, but we like drama, right?
Well, yes, we certainly like an entertainment. Movies would be boring without any drama in them. But we kind of do unique things. Having this podcast, we do judge people on this podcast. We do make inappropriate jokes. And we do like drama because we can talk about it, highlight it, make fun with it or sympathize with it. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Sure.
So for us, maybe we're a slight exception, but who likes drama? Because there's a negative connotation to that statement. Like, I don't need your drama. And a lot of the times I don't need your drama. So I don't like that.
Dude, you know what's funny is that I grew up, I think I had a pretty perfect childhood as far as being raised by parents. There wasn't a lot of drama and yelling and screaming in the house. When I met my wife, she had the opposite of that situation. And she was an older person when we got married. And she worked very hard in therapy and with herself. Drama made her comfortable because she knew what the outcome was going to be. If she made drama, she knew that chaos comforted her in some way. And it took her, therapy and to get out of that. So some people thrive off drama, and luckily she doesn't feel that way anymore, but she did for a long time, dude.
Yeah. Upbringings are all relative because I always thought I had a very normal upbringing, but then you get older and you realize how you're raising your kids. You look back on yours, or I've had some family skeletons come out of the closet that I never knew were happening when I was a little kid. I thought everything was perfectly harmonious. I had no idea that one parent was doing this or that, or, so it is. And it's kind of like, a lot of people like being depressed, quote unquote, like it because they know what it feels like. It's normal to them.
Comfortable.
Yeah. They don't want to get out of what they know. So it's a similar thing to what you're saying. Rachel grew up around chaos. So there was some normalcy to that to her because it's all relative.
And it is funny, dude. I had the hardest time well into my adult life. Rachel and I have been married for 15 years now. Probably just like 9 years ago, I started being able to admit that there were faults in the way I was raised and with my family. I viewed it as so perfect. And if you said anything to the contrary, it really upset me. And I was talking to my brother one day and telling him, we were having a conversation about, she says this is weird and this is not normal. And he was like, it's not. I was like, oh, really? You think that? And it took him, someone in my family saying that to pop me out of it and be like, oh, yeah, I guess everything wasn't normal. It was normal to me, but it wasn't normal. You know what I mean?
Sure. What is normal?
Yeah, that's a good question, dude.
We're talking about things that are common expressions that actually can drive other people crazy. I feel like I've experienced this one of late. I have a new perspective on this one. This is a cliche. It's not you, it's me. Common in a breakup. It's not you, it's me. And I think it's become a cliche because it's a baloney thing that someone says. Like, obviously it's me if you're breaking up with me, but I don't know. I've learned of late because, the way my most recent relationship ended, like nothing had happened. I didn't do anything, but my person has become overwhelmed with their life and their problems and their single motherhood and their financial problems at school. And she's overwhelmed. She's not capable of being in a relationship. Like, she's right. She said that it's not you, it's me. And I actually believe it in that scenario.
Yeah.
I've had other women say that where I'm like, no, it's definitely me. But
I think that one has to be used responsibly because it can be such a cop out to try and save someone's feelings and move aside.
Right.
But you're right. I mean, sometimes it is to be like, it's not what you're doing. It's me and how I feel and what I'm going through right now. So I'm going to step aside. So you just got to be careful with how you use it.
yeah.
Have you ever used this one? It's not me, it's you. I don't like you anymore.
I feel like that's what I've heard several times in life. Like, no, it's definitely you. I don't want anything to do with you anymore. So.
Yeah.
What do you think of I'm a lion in a world of sheep?
Oh,
That's alpha male bravado baloney, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yes, dude. Come on. Who's going to say that? Somebody who wants attention.
I heard that most recently, there's a quarterback at USC named Caleb Williams. He won the Heisman Trophy last year, and this year he was the clear front runner and all that sort of thing. And he's had a poor season. And when he got called out on the stuff by the press and fans, he tried that whole thing where, lions don't listen to what the sheep have to say.
Right. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's an excuse for your bad behavior.
Yeah, exactly.
You shouldn't have to say that if you didn't do something dumb. So, on a similar topic, try this one with your girlfriend, your wife, whatever. Next time, calm down when you're in the middle of an argument. You need to calm down. Just calm down.
It's the
How does that
only
ever
thing
go
that's kept me married, dude. You need to tell her to calm down quite a bit. It works really well. I can tell you.
You're hysterical. You're reminding me of your mom right now. Will you just calm down?
You need to take a breath. You're acting crazy. Like, just give it a minute.
They always snap right out of it, don't they?
Yeah,
Like, oh,
it's
you're
great.
right. Oh,
Yeah.
boy, I just do need to calm down. Why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, let us know how it works out.
I used to say to the Jen, you know what? I'm just going to go get myself a drink and a Valium. And
Right.
not focus on her, why she's angry and why she's hysterical. I just say it about myself and walk away.
I need this. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But my ultimate favorite, my all-time favorite is she'd start yelling and screaming at me. Even if I could hear everything she was saying, I'd pretend like I didn't hear her. And then she'd say my name a couple times. I'm like, oh, did you say something?
Yeah.
At that point, I'm
worked
just
out
antagonizing
beautifully,
you.
too. Yeah. Yes.
I can't tell you how many times I've had a woman say, like, I don't think you're listening. And I'm like, what? What'd you say? Obviously you're listening, but that joke never lands well. I don't know.
No, I can't imagine it would, dude. How many times have you been in a fight in your relationship? Here's the thing. I won't say to Rachel, you're acting crazy, right? Because I know what the outcome's going to be.
Yeah.
But how many times in your relationship and fights that you've been having, there is a tipping point where, like, you know what? If we're still fighting and it's been 45 minutes, I may have to say it. You're acting crazy. And I know I'm lighting the match and things are going to explode, but I got to say it at some point, right?
I feel you get pushed to that point, yes. And I've certainly been there a dozen and one times. Yeah, but no, it does no good whatsoever.
For sure.
It's just like when the woman tells you, I'm fine, I'm totally fine. You just used the word fine 3 times, so
Yeah,
we're
it's
not
fine.
fine.
Totally fine.
Right. So
Rachel's
don't tell
called
someone
me
to calm
crazy,
down.
dude. She's called me crazy more than once. You're acting crazy, and it doesn't hit the same way when you say it to a woman. Why is that? Why can she call me crazy, and I don't automatically be like, what? What did you just say? I'll be like, yeah, I am acting a little crazy right now, dude.
Dude, it's because they're crazy. Women are freaking crazy, okay? I'm going to say it, all right?
Steve has a great thing that he came up with about taxes and women. Do you remember what it is, Steve?
I was talking about, I was recently talking about women and the IRS. I said they both want the same thing, your money and your soul.
I was like, oh, man, I think he's ready for a new relationship.
That's what I feel like. You just want my money and my soul, my will to live. The IRS wants it. Women want it. That's what they want. So, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, women are crazy. I'm not saying men aren't, but women are crazy. Okay, you just got to find the shade of crazy that you can deal with. Or it's about your puzzle pieces matching up. Do your crazies coincide, or do the pieces butt egg? There's no way they're going to fit together.
It's a good way to look at it. We're all crazy. Can we coexist in a crazy relationship?
I have said many times in the last 4 years, after a lot of therapy, that nobody is perfect, but some people are perfect for each other.
Yeah.
See the distinction there. You're not a perfect person. I'm not a perfect person. But if I find my missing puzzle piece, we're perfect together.
Yeah.
Yin yang.
That's true. Right.
But yeah, none of us are perfect.
How do you feel about people telling you how much money they make?
Yeah, I don't know that happens a lot in my life. But you're a douchebag. Unless it's a close relative and you're talking about your taxes or something significant. And I will tell you, my firstborn is just finished all of her college applications, and she came to me and she was like, "I hate to have to even ask you this. This is so embarrassing, but I have to put on this application. Well, how much money do you make every year?"
That's a solid point, dude. Because when I was growing up, I didn't know how much my parents made.
No.
It was never talked about, right?
No. Nor do I. I mean, I don't know anyone who I've ever said. I mean, there must be in some tight business confine, maybe, or with your accountant or something. But yeah, it was uncomfortable to tell my kid how much I make and how'd she take that? Do you think I make a lot? Do I make a little?
Right. Are you judging me?
Right. I can't think of a good setting where you should be telling people what you're making. What's the positive scenario that is? You know?
Yeah. Well, again, you could just show people with your actions, dude. You know.
Right.
Pull your pants down and show them what you're wearing. You know, I mean, come on.
I'll show you what I'm worth. We're talking again about common expressions that actually are just annoying people. This is another one that I feel like it depends on the context you're using this. And it's relatively new. Sorry, not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Now, if you're using that again to cover up douchebag things you're saying, then that's rude. But if I'm like, listen, I think two gay guys should be able to get married. Sorry, not sorry.
Right. That's a tough one because you're just kind of throwing it in someone's face. Like, I know you want me to apologize, so I'll say I'm sorry, but I'm not, so yeah, it's kind of why would you even have to say it? Sorry, not sorry. You're just excusing your behavior. Or you could say it just like Steve did. You're basically saying at that point, I'm not sorry.
Yeah. You're saying I'm standing my ground. I'm going to stand by what I said. Sorry, not sorry. I agree. That gay guys should be able to get married. Russia shouldn't be invading Ukraine. Sorry, not sorry. Screw Russia.
Yeah.
But if you're just like, I think Mexicans are lazy. Sorry, not sorry. No, not okay.
Which goes back to I'm not racist, but
right. Exactly. There's a recurring theme here about covering up douchebagginess with some of these things. But
yeah,
that's
you
what
gotta
I'm saying. There's context
person.
where it can be a douchebag, but other times no.
What's the first thing you think of when you hear someone tell you, I'm an empath? Does it bother you?
I'm an empath. I don't even know if I know it. You're empathetic. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I don't have an opinion. I don't know. I've never heard someone say I'm an empath. Is this a common expression?
Yeah, it's fairly common with, you'll hear it a lot when people are, describing themselves like, that hit me really hard. I'm an empath, so I feel everything. I take everything in, I'm having a hard time right now. I'm an empath. So
yeah, I've heard it in kind of a way where, like a new agey woman into crystals and all that sort of thing. She got in my car and she's talking about how there's this aura about me. I'm an empath. I can see these things. So whenever I hear that, I always think of all that kind of, the woo-woo crystal new agey stuff,
This one says countless forum members admit that if you tell them you're an empath, they will immediately dismiss you as toxic. A lot of people suggested that it's often a mask of narcissism.
That's hilarious. You just said that because the example I was going to give is the Hindenburg always used to tell me how empathetic she was for other people. But she was the most self-centered, narcissistic person I've ever known.
Well,
and she was just projecting. Saying, oh, I'm empathetic. No, you're judging the crap out of everyone and you're looking down your nose at them. So you may think that's empathy, but it's not.
Yeah. I mean, empathy doesn't work if you don't actually show somebody or show up to show them that you care. You know what I mean?
Right. If you weaponize it, it's no good.
Somebody told me this recently about people doing favors for you, and it hit me right in my core because I had this conversation with my wife a while ago about a certain member of my family who was like, I'm always here. Anytime you need something, you just let me know. And these favors happen when it's very convenient for that person. They don't ever have to go out of their way or, make adjustments in what they're doing. They said that's not really a favor. And that just exploded my mind.
That
Say
was
it
what
again.
my therapist had told me. I had some medical issues. We'll talk about one of these days on the show recently. And I was in a bad situation. I was stranded at my house and I desperately needed help. And the only adult in this town that I know is my ex-wife. And I reached out to her and I was like, I'm in a really bad situation. I need some help. And she said, I'll come help you tomorrow afternoon. 24 hours later, she just left me in despair and misery for 24 hours. And my therapist said, it's not help if you do it when it's convenient for you. It's a favor if you say, hey, I'm free Saturday and I'll go do that thing for you. But it's not help if you're only doing it when it's convenient for you. It's part of the definition of help is I'm going to drop what I'm doing and come assist you because you are in need.
Yeah.
If you're only doing it when it's convenient for you, that's not help. You're doing a favor, the best case scenario,
100%, dude. And I was having this conversation with Rachel and telling her like about this specific person in my life where I was like, you know what? I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it to make a point is that whenever I have asked for you, you have never been inconvenienced to come and do something for me when I needed it. And you know what? I prove your love to me, dude. At some point in time, I want you to be inconvenienced and show up for me. Because I think it's a proof of how much you actually care about me.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So,
I'm living that right now. So, yes.
Yeah.
I've had some illumination in my life of late as to who actually has your back versus, everyone always says, if you're in trouble, you call me 24/7. And then you call that person and they're like, I'm busy. I have plans tonight. Well, then you're not that person then.
Right. Yeah. Don't say things that you can't back up. That's the only people I want in my life. If you tell me something, if it comes down to that, I want you to be able to back it up. And if I needed you, then you would be right here, do whatever it took to get there, then you can say that stuff. But otherwise, don't give me your pleasantries. I don't want them.
Totally. We're talking about common expressions that are just going to upset people. Here's what do I have to tell you never to say this to a woman? We were just talking about don't tell a woman to calm down when you're in a fight because that'll just backfire.
Right.
Don't ever ask a woman, are you on your period?
Dude, I'll tell you something real funny, okay? Growing up, my sister is 3 years older than me. And she was probably a freshman or maybe even a sophomore in high school. I was probably in middle school. We were sitting in the kitchen one day, and my dad was out of town a lot. So it was usually just the three of us, my mom, my sister, and me. She was acting crazy. And I didn't know any better. I said, are you on the rag or something? Dude, my mom slapped me so hard. And I mean, she did it without even thinking. Right. And I was like, what the hell? And she was like,
I guess mom's on her period too.
Right. She said, do not ever say that to a woman ever again. I was like, okay, I get it, dude. I won't.
I would love to hear the scenario where someone says that and the woman's like, you're right, I am on my period. Let me calm down.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
She's on the blob. That's my favorite.
The blob. Wow.
She's on the blob.
Make it sound as terrible as possible. Does that cushion the blow?
The blob, dude. That brings up terrible imagery in my brain.
Kind of chunky and whatnot,
Cloddy.
Yeah. Cloddy.
I don't use that word often.
Dude, I just almost got nauseous for a second when you said that.
Bert Kreischer has a great bit about his younger daughter when she got her period and she called him from school.
Right.
And she's like, Dad, it happened. He's like, what do you mean? What happened? She says, it. Like that. He's like, now my wife's out of town. So my first reaction was, bitch, you promised.
Right. Yeah. She wanted a cake for her
red velvet cake because she was going to have a period party.
Yeah, apparently that's a new thing. I did not experience that with my firstborn, but yeah.
I can't imagine, dude. Are you kidding me?
I've gotten that call though before. Dad, I need, feminine products, please. I'm stuck at work or school or whatever it is. And do you know what I do? I tell her, yeah, give me 24 hours and I'll come give that for you.
Right, yeah.
I'm watching TV right now, kid. No, I drop what I'm doing and I go help.
Right. What do you think about I'm a boss bitch?
Oof, that's like the alpha male thing. Like I'm a lion, not a sheep. Like I'm a boss bitch. So you're just cut out the first word and you're correct.
What?
You're just a bitch. No, okay. Drop the boss word. You're just a bitch.
I see. Yeah, you're just being a bitch. Yeah.
Right. I'm a boss bitch, please.
And it is something's different though when a woman says I'm a boss bitch. Sometimes it'd be like, ooh, she's handling her stuff. But if a guy were to say that, like,
it's toxic masculinity.
I'm an ass kicker. I do whatever. You'd be like, douchebag.
Yeah, it's the lion versus sheep thing. So yeah, no, I totally agree. Nick, I don't know if you've ever said this before or not, but don't talk to me before my morning coffee.
Oh,
is that a fair statement of just give me space, or are you justifying your bitchiness when you wake up in the morning?
Yeah, I would never say that to anyone. I would be, you know what? If you came to me with a problem, I might say at the very most, like, let me get a little caffeine in me and we'll figure this out, but I would never say like, don't talk to me until I've had my coffee.
Right. I've seen coffee mugs that say that, like it's got a meter on it. Like, don't talk to me until it hits this point of the cup or whatever. Like, fun.
Coffee cups have all kinds of great sayings that can get you in trouble. When I was maybe 10 years old, we used to have this thing called Secret Santa or Santa's Workshop. It was basically where they would bring items into your elementary school and you could buy them. So you could buy your parents a gift.
Yeah.
Right? I bought my mother a coffee mug that said, I keep trying to lose weight, but somehow it keeps finding me. I bought it and I gave it to her for Christmas. And I don't even know that I knew what it meant. Right. She was like, oh, thanks.
You called me fat, Nikki. Thank you.
Yeah. It's great.
It's hilarious. My pot shop here in town, I'm sure these are sold everywhere, but they have a coffee cup that has a bowl built into it, so that you could, in theory, drink coffee and smoke weed out of the same device. But I don't actually understand how that would work, because when you tip the cup to drink, isn't the weed going to like fall out or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just maybe a novelty. I don't know if you can actually use it, right?
I mean, challenge accepted. I'm going to see if I can figure it out. But
why not?
Seems like one would defeat the other. But
Brewski, this is a good question for you. Do you remember a thing called Capsello?
Capsella.
Yeah, when you were a kid, you remember?
Yeah,
them?
the building things, and they were clear plastic, and they had little motors. Yeah. I got it one year for Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it one year for Christmas too, and I still had it in high school. And we made a self-lighting bong out of it that put the fan in backwards so it would suck down when you were lighting.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what Mom and Dad were hoping for when they bought it for you for Christmas.
You didn't tell me you had an interest in engineering.
Yes. Yeah. No, I was always into that. This one falls into that same conversation of like, don't tell people to trust you. But this one is, you can trust me. I'm a Christian. I think this has taken on a whole new tone in the last 5, 6, 7 years than it ever used to for a lot of people. But you hear people say it all the time. You can trust me, dude. I'm a God lover. I'm a Christian. Come on. Trust me.
And when has a God lover ever done anything wrong? So
right.
That's the heightened version of I'm a good person, so let me tell you what to do. Like,
exactly.
Narrowing it down into a controversial category that has a long history of wars and molestations and cover-ups. So I don't know that that's a good thing to say. It's like, I'm in the mob, so listen to what I'm saying.
You can trust me. These are, I feel like so many of these things are things, or at least branches of things that Trump says. Like, it's true. It's true.
Right. Yeah. No, a lot of these are being used to justify bad behavior. That seems to be the recurring theme through all of these. And as we head into the holiday season and beyond, this applies all year round. Like, I guess the point would be more mindful of how you're using some of these things, because there are scenarios where they can be used appropriately, I feel, but lots where they can't.
Well, this too shall pass, dude.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason.
That's right, Brewski. That's right. Yeah.
I guess we may be back before the new year, but if not, we appreciate everyone for the 2023 love and support, and on we go into a new year.
Oh, hey, dude, this is a good question. Did we make it to 100? Is this 100?
Oh, crap. That's a great question. We might be on episode 100 right now. This is our second episode, 98. No, this is episode 99. So
we have to put one more.
Yeah, we have to do one more.
So, okay, good reminder. I've been trying to flag that. I totally forgot. So yeah, this is 99. So Let's see if we can get 100 done this year.
If it wasn't such a big night for Brewski, I would say let's do a drunken New Year's Eve podcast, dude. Oof. But I know that's a big night for Brewski's.
I got.
We don't have to record it on New Year's Eve. I mean, I guess we.
Yeah, we could always just get drunk and do the podcast.
But how does that always end for someone on the show?
You don't go overboard, dude. Relax.
Well, and also, I'm not there making crazy Jello shots either.
Right. That's right. Brewski's not going to be feeding you. No one can keep you going. You get to monitor yourself. So.
Right. When we started the show on the radio years ago, we always did a year in review show, and we always did drinking games throughout it, and we would just get sloppy drunk, and by the end of the show, it was just debauchery. And of the, 5 or 6 years we did it, I ended up in the hospital like 3 times from alcohol poisoning. It was not good at all. But it was entertaining and it was fun at the time. So,
yeah.
We should see how well it's aged into our late 40s.
I was going to say, now I'll be on Xanax next episode. So see how I am.
All right. Well, we will talk to you after the Christmas holiday, and we'll see what happens.
Indeed. So, thevocalminority.net. Find us on all the social medias and spread the joy that is Nick and Steve a la Brewski.
Say goodbye, Brewski, in a very festive type of way, if you could, please.
Oh, ho, ho. Goodbye, Brewski.
And we say bye-bye.
Test 1 2, test 1 2.
Stop.